because I'm here in Australia and I have my 2.5-year-old sitting next to me. He is reading. He currently wants me to read, so I'll see how much I can get through of this. And my other little one is taking a nap, so he may wake up soon. So I met my husband and we got pregnant pretty much right away. And so then I was pregnant with my firstborn, and I actually had a really easy pregnancy. I had a little bit of morning sickness with him, but like nothing too severe. And so I was really lucky, and everything just went perfectly. Even like my doctor's visits, they were just like, everything's perfect. And when they would say things like, oh, you might not be able to hear the heartbeat yet at this stage, he's very happy and strong, and yeah, just he was like the perfect pregnancy. He was a summer baby, so at the end of his pregnancy I got to walk a lot, and my background is in nutrition as well, so I fed him the best, so that even when I went and saw a massage therapist, she was just like, wow, you have no swelling. Like, she was a special massage therapist for pregnancy, and she's just like, I get so many mums in here who have like a lot of swelling in their legs and you've just got nothing. And there were quite a few things I did, and I had one of my midwives really quite concerned because I wasn't gaining a lot of weight. And so there's a scale of like how much weight you're meant to gain, and I didn't gain any weight, but so she was concerned that the baby would come out really small, and I had people just like, oh, your baby's gonna turn out really small. No, darling, you can't draw in a book, but you can do you want this one? There you go, you can draw in that one. And he didn't at all. He came out absolutely perfect. And he was absolutely perfect weight. And so I had the most perfect journey with him, pregnancy wise, and to the point where I'm from Australia, and so because he was so perfect, I was meant to have a birth in the hospital, a water birth, and he decided on the night that he was going to come out, he came at home accidentally. So we called my midwife and we were like, we're ready to come in. And she's like, well, because you can talk to me on the phone, I think you should stay at home. And we were like, okay. So because she had said that, she was my midwife, and so I was like, okay, I'll stay at home for an hour. And I went to the toilet, and I didn't get off the toilet, and basically had my baby at home, just me and my husband. He was there too, but he was on the phone to the ambulance, first the midwife, and the midwife was like, oh, just call the ambulance. And so yeah, they arrived, and basically when you have your first baby, it's meant to take quite a while, but I'd done all these specific things to make sure that I had a really easy birth, and so he ended up coming in 7 hours, which is a really quick birth for your first child. And so we took him to the hospital and they measured him and he was perfect, and we brought him home. And so we I had some trouble with breastfeeding with him just because a few different things happened. I had bought this oil that is meant to help after you give birth, and he didn't like the smell and he just screamed and cried. Yeah, so we had that happen, and it was a bit of a journey learning how to correctly do all of that. And he ended up mostly being bottle fed after 4.5 months. And so when we had our second child, I really wanted to do it again and make sure that it was it was much easier. And so we had kind of decided we were either going to have one and be done, or we were going to have two. And so I ended up having I'm having I decided we decided we were having two. And so after 9 months, another baby, well, I got pregnant again, and I actually got really bad morning sickness. And when I talked to someone about it, she said it's because when you have two babies really close together, your body hasn't really released all the hormones, and my body wasn't prepared, my liver wasn't prepared for the hormones of having a second baby. So they do recommend that you have your baby like 2 to 3 years after, but I was already like had my first baby at 28, and I wanted to have them before I was 30 because that's when you have the best eggs. And so yeah, we did get pregnant. And so if anyone is going to have two babies close together and do 2 under 2, I would highly recommend that you make sure your liver is really supported and find someone who is like a holistic doctor or a really good naturopath to help with those hormones. And so because I'd had such an easy pregnancy and birth with my first son, I got it in my mind that I was going to do that again at home, which is not recommended by anyone. And I had a lot of people tell me it was a really bad idea. Just because I'd already had one baby at home doesn't mean the next one was going to work out. And the thing was that I can literally see the hospital from our house. So if anything went wrong, I knew that the hospital was right there. I looked into getting a midwife at home, and I just couldn't find anyone that I really liked. So I ended up, just getting in my mind that I was going to do it at home in my own way with my husband, and my son was going to be asleep. And also the doctor that I had was like, well, if your first birth was so quick, you might not even make it to the hospital. So I was just like, well, that's even my doctor telling me that I'm not going to make it to the hospital anyway, so it's not like to super plan for that. And so yeah, I was really quite sick with my second pregnancy for about 3 months. I was basically in bed. We don't plan to have any more kids, but that part I would like, if I was ever to have more kids. I'm coming up to 32 now, so I don't feel like it's appropriate thing for me to have more kids. I know that a lot of people, 40s and some women even 50s are having kids. That doesn't feel right for me and my personal belief. But if I was to, I would like to experience going back to my first pregnancy where I had very minimal morning sickness. And so, yeah, I ended up having my second baby and at home with my husband, and it was only 3 hours. And women tell me that, I'm the exception to the rule, but I really don't think I am the exception to the rule. I think I am just very well researched in the world. And so I was able to have an amazing birth because I know the nutrition that you need. I know that the exercise you need, and that was my main focus. I always like to be prepared for anything that I am choosing to do. And so my son wants something, and what do you want, sweetheart? You want the box? You want to have a look? Okay. So he's just doing some activities. Oops. And yeah, so that was my experience of birth and my integration into oh, no thank you. Oh, that's daddy's. Integration into motherhood. And then so I had 2 under 2. My eyes are reading the chat because there's some weird comments on there. But anyway, they don't go in your ears, darling. He's putting balls in his ears. Yeah, so I had basically like supernatural births, and I'm so glad. And then my motherhood journey has been really blessed as well. My first son wasn't the greatest sleeper, and that's because he had really bad colic, I believe, which a lot of people. Oh, thank you, Abby. And so, yeah, he had really bad colic, and so he didn't sleep very well. So with my second son, because I was able to fully breastfeed him, he was really easy. And yeah, he was a dream. He doesn't fully sleep through the night yet, but he is a lot easier. I used to have to spend 2 hours rocking my firstborn to sleep, and so really learned a lot about colic in babies. And my cousin had told me about it, but I kind of just didn't focus too much on it now, and I've been sharing like all of my tips and tricks with my cousin because she's having a baby. Oh, thank you. I am a great mother. I will agree. I get told that all the time. I have really happy, healthy children. I feel like our current society, people are having kids for the wrong reasons, and they're not actually putting the attention and into having kids, and it's creating like this vicious cycle with really unhealthy kids, and then that's turning into really unhealthy adults and a lot of trauma. Before I had kids, I decided if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly. And I don't know that our parents necessarily had, did the best for us either. There's a lot of, countries around the world that still really prioritize the mum just spending time taking care of the kids and, the family's help. I didn't have a lot of help, to be honest, but also probably because I can be a bit of a perfectionist, and I didn't necessarily want outside influence on my kids and what people believe is right. I definitely followed my intuition as to how it was going to go, my motherhood journey, and yeah, they're really thriving, and they're both very strong. They were both early to walk and early to talk. My 11-month-old is already, it should be, Alan, marriage should be taken very seriously. I 100% agree. I take it very seriously. Um, and so, and I take motherhood very seriously. And yeah, so my 11-month-old, he's already talking. And so, just making sure that they have enough, uh, we keep a very quiet home just so that they have not overstimulated. So a lot of kids aren't. I'm from Australia. Where's everyone else from? Um, yeah, so we keep a nice, quiet home. Oh, thank you. You don't want to be a mother, Abby? That's interesting. Um, Interesting. Hi from to the Ukraine. Nate, very interesting stance. I'm not for or against being baptized. We My husband's been baptized, and he didn't feel like it was necessary. I also believe if my kids want to be baptized, they can be baptized at any stage. I'm very much a parent and mother that believes that if my kids want to choose to do it, they absolutely can. Within reason, and it's as something that's safe. And one of my sons is putting stickers on the wall. So yeah, if my kids come to me and they want to be baptized, absolutely they can be baptized. We have faith, but it's not within a, how would you say it, within a construct. I know also that like here in Australia, no one talks about circumcision because I got two boys. No one even talks about it, so they don't really offer it. And no, I wasn't baptized. It wasn't my parents' personal belief. So I have my own faith, and it's a bit of like a mixture of a lot of different things. I very much believe in looking at our ancestry and looking at human nature and all those things to decide on our belief. And I'm pretty open to all of it. So even if my kids wanted to be circumcised, that would be their choice. Yeah, I'm with you, Abby. I don't think it's lame. I really respect all religions because I think a lot of religion has some really good grounding foundations, but I'm not really for the rules either. I do, like in marriage, I believe that there's some really beautiful rules and we like follow those, but that's just our, yeah, definitely limiting in some aspects. I also grew up with quite a religious family, and I found that they didn't follow the rules, so, and then just judged everyone else. So for me, I had to find my own beliefs and my own religion and morality because yeah, I just found it was very condescending and contradictive, and it's like, do as I say, not as I do, and I don't believe in that. And my children, I will teach them what I feels right in my heart, but they ultimately can decide for themselves. And this has gone in a very so I'm very open to what people believe in. I think some of the beliefs are absolutely beautiful, and I think it's actually sad that more people don't adopt different beliefs. But I'm very much about your life, and you create your life with the higher power, whatever you call that, which some people call that their inner self, and some other people, call that God. Some people call it the universe. I believe that it's very similar and it's all very connected, and so whatever people believe in. But I do believe you need to believe in something, whether that is just your higher self, because otherwise a lot of people are they're a bit lost. And so I've also had people, if I talk about my mother, like when I was pregnant, a lot of people gave me very limiting beliefs. Even after that, when I was sharing my supernatural birth experiences, a lot of people were just like, oh, that's just your circumstance. That's not necessarily like someone said, oh, well, I had a 22-hour birth, and everyone's experience is everyone's experience, which it is. But I think that if you have the right mentality and the right tools, you can 100% create a birth story. No, thank you. Can you please pick all of those up? Can you please put them all in the container so your brothers know? Otherwise, you can put them on. You put them in that they're for, so you can stick them to the rocket. Yeah. So religion, and I didn't realize this would go in a direction of religion and faith, but I am a very faithful person. Very filled with faith, but I just don't label it. You guys are having an interesting conversation there. And so, yeah, I think it will be important in my motherhood journey that the kids can experience what they choose to experience in terms of faith. And Abby, once again, and this is why I'm sharing this journey, I just have to pick up my little Bobby because he just woke up. Yeah, so everyone's so fearful of pregnancy, and that because my background is in kinesiology, and so we're all about the mindset, and the scary stuff actually comes from the mind. Oh, thank you. So what happens is a lot of people have struggles in their pregnancy and giving birth because they get their mind in this state of fear. But if you can actually overcome that, I would I would actually say that it's not that painful. I actually really loved being pregnant and didn't find it scary at all. I worked really hard on my mindset and making sure my body was prepared. Probably the painful part is not even that painful. It's just because, like, as a woman, you've never experienced it before. It feels like heavy pressure downwards. And once you actually get into active labor, your whole body takes over. Like, you can't even control it. And there is, I really worked on making sure that my uterus, because it contracts to push the baby out, making sure it was very healthy and strong, which I don't think a lot of women even look at when they're pregnant or before they're pregnant. And so if you, I think that's why women have such long labors, is because their uterus isn't actually contracting correctly. And so I have a friend, she was pregnant at the same time as me, and she gave birth to her baby after I did. And they laid her sideways on the bed, and she said her pain level was like an 11 out of 10. So what happens with that is because of the way your spine is shaped at the base, and also the position she was in, she was actually pushing against gravity. So I had like this supernatural birth, and I didn't know that the way that I ended up having the baby is because I had it on the toilet. I was actually going with gravity. So it didn't really hurt at all. Just when the last part, like when you first feel the head coming out, that can be, if your lady bits aren't prepared for it, it can be, it feels like stretching. And they call it the ring of fire. I actually didn't feel it very much in my first pregnancy. I felt it a little bit in my second pregnancy, my second birth. And yeah, it's the way you breathe too. Your mind just like your mind takes over, and you can actually do it much easier. And you were asking about like just pregnancy. So pregnancy, a lot of women have a lot of pain in their body. Like they get like, what would you say? Like leg pain, leg cramping. Like my number one thing is to prepare your body before and during pregnancy, because I didn't get all of that. And like I was saying at the start of this, like I didn't get swelling. A lot of women get a lot of swelling in their legs, which can be really, yeah, I wouldn't say it's painful, but you feel really, and for me, like I was saying, I didn't gain any weight, so I didn't have any of those, like a lot of issues women have. They have like preeclampsia, gestational diabetes. I didn't have any of those. And so for me, like pregnancy was quite euphoric. It felt, fine. Like for other women, like they hate being pregnant. And I honestly wouldn't recommend, I would recommend getting pregnant before 30. So Abby, I don't know how old you are. I think that's when your body is in the best place it can be. But also I would definitely prepare for pregnancy so that you don't have a lot of the stuff that other people have. And pregnancy for me was a joy. I know some people, just because they accidentally get pregnant. Oh, great, a lot younger than 30, that's good. I think it's really important you have the right partner too. That's another thing. Like my husband, if I needed something, we'd go get it. If didn't feel like cooking, he would cook. I think that's really important too. And there's differences in different cultures as to what a man will do. But I really enjoyed pregnancy. I had an auntie who had really quick pregnancies too, and she put it down to walking. So a lot of women they don't exercise while they're pregnant, and so yeah, that makes it really difficult as well. And like if you're under 30, you've got plenty of time to prepare like your mindset and your body, and having the right relationship. Also, I know financial stress for a woman can come up. So I had friends that accidentally got pregnant really quickly. She had to pay half of everything, and I think that put a lot of pressure on her while she was pregnant and after their relationship, and then they didn't stay together. So I'm not really I don't really believe in the single mum movement, like you plan to be a single mum. I just think it really takes both parents to be there to raise the kids, and like for a man to help take care of the woman while she's doing that. Like we had, can you take that out of your mouth, please? We had tribes, like a lot of beautiful cultures still have their family. The mother or the mother-in-law comes and moves in and helps, and helps you through pregnancy and all of those sort of things, where our modern day society is having these horrific birth stories, and it's nothing like what you see on TV. I didn't even have my water break, so my midwife kept going, "When did your water break? When did your water break?" And I couldn't really answer that with my first because I had no idea. And my second, and which is not a problem at all, and my waters just didn't break. And I think that because like the encapsulation therein was nice and healthy and strong. So it's not like in movies where someone's saying all this water is gushing out of you. Uh, that it wasn't like that for me at all. And then you birth the placenta afterwards. And the saddest thing is women, like I don't like men don't either, but specifically women have no idea all of this is going to happen, and we're not really taught. And the hospital system puts a lot of fear in people, and um, yeah, and what it feels like to be pregnant. When you start feeling the baby, it's a very special moment for a lot of people. Some they kick you, and they even play with you. So if you tap one part of your belly, they will tap back, and yeah, it's quite exciting. But it's nice to have people who are excited with you too, to make it not feel as scary. I know in like my first pregnancy, because I didn't know what was going to happen, there was a bit of, yeah, still a little bit of fear of what's going to happen. And that's why I'm coming on here sharing my birth experience, because a lot of people are sharing a lot of the scary experience. And if I can teach women that there's other ways to have birth, and I always think about some of the Asian countries where they talk about the women are working and they're pregnant and they just give birth in the fields, and then just go back to work. That's kind of the experience that I would say I had. Like I woke up the next day, um, like it hadn't really happened. A little bit broken after they have a baby, and mine, Ta, Ta, you cheeky child. Thank you. Yuckies. Theo, can you please pick these up? Theo, can you put these away, please, so that Ollie doesn't put them in his mouth? Yeah, put them all back in the container, sweetheart. So yeah, that was like I had a really amazing pregnancy experience, and my plan is, so for the last 2 years, I have been like writing a course to help women, get over the fears of giving birth, and all my tips and tricks, because yeah, I just don't think there's enough information out there. And even the midwives who are meant to be supporting you and helping you, guide you through your journey, they instill a lot of fear. Uh, they they tell you, they don't tell you how hard it's going to be, but they definitely don't help you on your experience unless you really get the right midwife. But I was pregnant through COVID, and midwives were very fearful anyway about the world and tar. And so that was like an experience in its own. But I, during pregnancy, stayed in my own bubble. And if anyone told me it's going to be like this, like, your baby is going to be underweight because you're not putting on weight, I just would smile and do my own thing. I wouldn't buy into that. I watched a lot of videos about natural birth and easy births, and I just, really want to add to that collective of information, because I just don't think it used to be like that back in the day. And there are books that I've read that said, it used to be easy, and it wasn't until male doctors came along and made the process a lot harder for women. Whereas previously we would have our support system, our women helping us birth our own babies, and it's a pretty quick process. So that was my birth experience, and I just feel like it was a really amazing one. And now I'm helping as many women as possible to also experience a really easy birth and pregnancy, and then you get really happy, healthy children from that too. A lot of women have a lot of birth trauma, which means that the baby remembers in their subconscious mind the birth trauma, and so that can create a lot of issues in children as well. And so my biggest thing was making sure that my babies didn't have a lot of birth trauma, giving them the most simple, easy birth. If I could be a midwife, I would. I'm just not someone who wants to sacrifice their sleep. Watch out for alcohol. Yeah, definitely. No drinking during pregnancy or when breastfeeding. Yeah. Well, 1 can of beer a week, that's easy enough. Okay, that's easy enough to beer every week. So just one, or you're like, alcoholism does not help a baby. My mom, she was a drinker, but she never drank when I was pregnant. I really hope that you work out that journey. Yeah, that's definitely something that, for a happy, healthy life, like, I'm not for or against alcohol, but if you feel like it's an issue in your life, then definitely, because I think that to have the best possible lives, we shouldn't have any addictions, or addicted to happiness, I guess. So I just wanted to come in on here and thank you, darling, and share my motherhood journey, and say hello to people out there. Like, my main areas that I feel very successful in is in my marriage, and in my motherhood, and with money and my mindset. Being a kinesiologist, it's very important that in order to be successful in your life, you have the right mindset. And I do think it's a whole system approach. And my children have decided to absolutely, in this time, destroy their playroom. So I'm gonna hop off probably now and help them to clean that up. If you guys want to see what I'm currently working with, they've absolutely decided it would be fun to just put everything everywhere. But it's still a joy of motherhood. because I'm teaching them to clean up after themselves. That's really important that children learn that if you make a mess, you have to clean it up. Yes, don't you? Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining me. If you want to follow along on my journey, please feel free to subscribe and have a beautiful day. Bye, Abby. Nice to meet you. I wish you well on your journey. So thank you for joining me.